Hello besties, welcome back to Bookmas. Today we have a video that desperately needs to get done before the end of the year, and that is seeing if I can finish my annual TBR that I set at the beginning of 2025. At the beginning of this year, I set a list of 15 books that I wanted to read before the year ends, and honestly, throughout the year, I've done a pretty good job of reading almost all of these books, but I have not quite finished the list, and so I thought it would be really fun during Bookmas to do a reading vlog of finishing up the last few books on my annual TBR so I can go into the new year feeling refreshed and feeling like I accomplished all of my goals that I set at the beginning of this year. This is the list of 15 books that I wanted to read in 2025, and so far this year I have completed 12 of the 15 books, and I'm very proud of myself. I feel like sometimes when it gets to this point in the year, it can feel like crunch time and like there's no way that I'm going to be able to actually feasibly finish this list. But I actually also decided to DNF and unhaul one book towards the beginning of this year. So that means that 13 books are done from this list, and I have 2 more books left to go. Those books are Reckless by Lauren Roberts, as well as Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. I honestly can't believe that both of these books are still on my TBR. I honestly thought that these were books that I would get done towards the beginning or middle of this year. But, that didn't happen. And so the first book that I am going to be reading in this video is Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. Guys, look how pretty this cover is. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. Ashley Poston is one of my favorite authors on the entire planet. I have read 3 of her other books. Let me show you. At this point, I've read The Dead Romantics, The 7-Year Slip, and A Novel Love Story, all by Ashley Poston, and I loved all 3 of these books. I think if I were to rank them, my favorite is definitely The 7-Year Slip. Then I would put The Dead Romantics, and at the bottom we have A Novel Love Story. And so I'm just curious to see where Sounds Like Love is going to fit into my Ashley Poston ranking. Ashley Poston is known for putting magical realism in her romance stories, and it honestly makes her romances feel very different than any other romances that I have read. Like, they don't necessarily follow the common romance structure, and there's just these fun, fantastical elements that come up throughout the book that are very subtle, but also feel very tasteful. All I know is that this book follows 2 musicians, and at random times they can hear each other in their minds. Like, they can literally hear either their voices, their thoughts, their songs, something like that in their minds. But beyond that, I literally don't know a single thing. And so I'm hoping that I'm really going to enjoy this book. So yeah, I think that's all for this intro. I'm really excited to jump into this book, and I will see you guys when I get started. It's been about 2 days since I started filming for this video, and I have made it to the 100-page mark in Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. And so I wanted to give you guys my first initial thoughts and opinions, and also just fill you guys in on what this book is actually about, because I feel like I know now. I know when I started this video, I was very vague and very fuzzy on the plot of this book. But in this story, we're following our main character, Joni, and she is a professional songwriter. She's originally from the Outer Banks in North Carolina, but she ended up leaving everything behind to move to LA to pursue her dreams of becoming a songwriter, and she did this many years ago. Flash forward to now, she's very successful in what she does. She has written the top pop hits for some incredibly big artists, but right now she's really in a rut. She has writer's block super badly, and she pretty much cannot write another song, and she doesn't know what to do to get out of it. I'm not going to dive into the details of how this happens or why this happens, happens, but very early on in the book, Joni starts hearing this male voice inside her head, and it totally freaks her out because if I heard voices in my head, I think I would think that I was going crazy. There's no other way to look at that, I really don't think. But yeah, she starts hearing the voice of a man inside her head, and we know who it is because you do meet this character also basically in the first 5 pages of this book, but Joni has no idea who it is. That's kind of the general synopsis of this book. I really am enjoying it so far. I think I have heard some mixed reviews and criticism for this story, and honestly, the only critique that I have right now, which is a critique that I have heard before, is I don't really understand how or why they do hear the voices in their mind. Like sometimes they can hear each other and sometimes they can't, and that whole thing is a little bit confusing because I'm like, oh, if you could hear all of their thoughts, wouldn't it be really easy to figure out who they are and how they're feeling all of the time? But there's definitely times when they can hear each other and other times when they can't hear each other. And you kind of just never know when that like voice is around. But other than that, I'm loving it. I love Ashley Poston's writing. I feel like in her books, more than a lot of other romance books specifically, I can really clearly picture her books in my mind. There's a few authors that do that for me. I would say some of the best ones are Emily Henry and again, Ashley Poston. When our main character is in LA, I can see LA really well in my mind. But when she's in the Outer Banks in North Carolina, which she travels home for during the summer in this book, so most of this book actually takes place in OBX, I feel like I can picture that so clearly, and I've never been there. I have no idea what that looks like, but I can just see everything in my mind. But it's not to a point where it's like too descriptive or too flowery or anything like that. And I can tell that tension is going to build. It's just interesting because our characters are interacting mentally, but they're not interacting physically. And I also kind of like that because you can't really jump the gun on this physical attraction too much because they're literally talking to each other in their minds and they have, again, we know, but they have no idea who they're talking to. I can feel myself rambling a little bit, but basically I'm really enjoying this book. I'm just over halfway through Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston, and I wanted to jump in here and just give a very quick update on my opinions and what I'm thinking about this book so far, especially because this is a book that was probably in my top 3 most anticipated releases for all of 2025. So it actually feels like criminal behavior that I have not read and finished this book yet. But guys, I am starting to really, really love our 2 main characters. I find Joni just absolutely adorable. And then the MMC in this book also, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're not usually my type, but you're so cute, I feel like there's just something about his mannerisms and his personality that I'm just absolutely obsessed with. And so I'm starting to get all those warm, fuzzy, cozy feelings in my heart about this book. I'm just having so much fun, and it feels so good to be back with Ashley Poston and her writing. I think I said this in my last update, but I can just see everything so picture perfectly clear in my mind, and it's so comforting, and it scratches an itch in my brain that I just didn't know that I needed. And I feel like when I'm reading her books, it's just, she has writing that I'm looking for in every other book, just the style that she writes in, her sentence structure, her plot structure. I'm really enjoying this book. I will say I'm still a little bit annoyed that I don't understand when our 2 main characters can hear each other's voices in their mind. There's just moments when they can hear each other, and there's other moments when they can't hear each other. And as a reader, it's a little confusing because I just feel like they should know everything about each other, even though they don't. And sometimes, I won't even get into it, but it's a little bit weird and a little bit frustrating. I feel like that's the only thing that I'm not really liking about this book. I also don't know how they're going to fix the problem you know, like they can hear each other's voices in their head. They don't really know how it started, and I don't know how to fix it. They don't know how to fix it. And so I'm curious about how we're going to resolve this issue. And also now they're with each other in person, which is not a spoiler. You know that that's going to happen. And it's just really fun to see the like physical tension start to build after we've already had this mental and emotional tension build. And so, yeah, guys, this is so good. I don't think it's like a 5 or anything because of the reasons that I've said so far, but it's so freaking good. And I'm having a really great time. Next time you hear from me, I will be finished with this book and also one book closer to finishing my 2025 TBR. Good morning, besties. I just got home from hanging out with a friend. We went on a walk. I got a matcha. We worked on a puzzle. It was so fun. However, I wanted to hop on the vlog real quick because I finished Sounds Like Love last night. And so I wanted to give you guys my final opinion and final review. I will say there is a third act conflict that arises, and honestly it was short-lived, but I still found the conflict itself very frustrating. And I think as I read this book more and more, there was a period in the middle where I felt really connected to our characters and the romance, but oddly by the end I feel like that kind of fizzled out again, and I wasn't as invested in Joni, in our male main character, and just like the outcome of their relationship. Like once the tension snapped, I just had a harder time connecting with this book. And so I would absolutely recommend it. I think this was really sweet, really fun, really adorable. And there was also really great depth woven in here. We get to know some of the other people in Joni's life, like her mom is going through a health challenge that I won't say here just because I don't want to spoil anything or give too much away. We hear about complicated family relationships in our male main character. And so there was a lot of depth and like a lot to this story that I really appreciated, but for some reason I just kind of felt a little bit disconnected to this book, which is honestly a bit similar to how I felt when I read A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. All that said, I am going to be giving this a 3.5, and I feel really good about that. It feels right. That means that we are moving on to our second and final book of this video, which also means that by the end of this video, I am going to be finished with my 2025 TBR. I am so proud of myself for that. I think this is the second year in a row that I'll hopefully finish that TBR, and that just feels amazing. But as I said at the beginning of this video, book number 2 is Reckless by Lauren Roberts. I have this book both on my Kindle. This is a Kindle Unlimited series if you're looking for something to download quick and easy onto your Kindle. And then I also have the audiobook from Libby, my library app. And so I'm thinking I'm gonna go back and forth. I'm actually working on a craft for bookmas right now. I'm pretty sure the video where I like fully do this craft is coming out later, but I want to listen to the Reckless audiobook while working on that bookmas craft. So you guys are gonna get a little preview of a fun bookmas video that's coming out. I don't know when, but it's like soon after this one. Currently, I'm at about 50% of the way through this book. I think I said it at the beginning of this video, but just in case I didn't, I started this book like 4 or 5 months ago and just kind of kept starting it and stopping it and starting it and stopping it. So I've decided that this is the time that I start it and finish it. I'm gonna dive into this. I will update you guys more on like the plot and stuff once I get back into it. I just don't really remember because I have not read this book in several months. So let's get to reading. Good morning, besties. It is the next day now, and I have officially made it to the 79% mark in Reckless. I did all of that yesterday listening to the audiobook while I crafted, and then I read a little bit more in bed before I went to sleep last night. And so my Kindle says I have an hour and a half left of the book. I feel like I'm just flying through this because I did start it so long ago and I did make decent progress in it. This book takes place in a fantasy world where some people have powers and other people do not. However, anyone born without powers is either killed or banished. And our main character, Peyton, is powerless. She does not have powers, but she pretends to have a power like in this world so she can survive. And she ends up getting selected to compete in these magical trials, which obviously is not good if you don't have any magic. And so I found the first book good. I found it entertaining. I really liked Peyton. It definitely just felt like a bunch of things that I had already read before, but I liked it enough to want to continue the series, and I liked the romance enough to want to continue the series. However, the second book now I'm finding is all like banter with no plot. And I'm not going to say what is happening in the second book. Like technically, yes, there's a plot, but if you really look at the page and like what's happening, the entire time we have Peyton and Kai, the love interest, really just like dancing around their feelings and dancing around each other. And it's not having the effect that like you want it to have on you, because I feel like the impact of the flirting and the banter and all this stuff really gets lost when it's happening for 400 pages. And so I'm just like, I want this book to be over. I want it to be done. But like, it's not bad. I just am very confused about my feelings because I do think that these books are good and they have a lot of good components. But like when you put everything together, I just feel frustrated and I wish that more things were happening than just banter, which like, again, you would think that I would love that because everyone wants like a little banter in like their romance books and their romantasy books. But I'm like, guys, there's so much more to life than bantering with each other. Like you have way bigger problems than your feelings towards each other. And so yeah, I'm not loving this. And I really I'm like, oh, I only have one more book left to go in the series and then it's done. But I'm like, based on how this book is going, I probably shouldn't finish the series, but I'm gonna figure that out when I finish this book. Not only have I completed Reckless by Lauren Roberts, but as of last night, I have officially completed my 2025 TBR, and I am so happy and honestly so relieved because for a second there, I was really worried that this was not going to happen. And being completely honest and transparent, I do believe that this video is the single reason that I completed my 2025 TBR. First things first, I want to give you guys my final review on Reckless by Lauren Roberts. Unfortunately, this is a book that I was hoping that I would enjoy as I got further into it, but unfortunately what happened is the further into this book I got, the more and more I became frustrated with the same things happening over and over again, and I ultimately just did not end up really enjoying this book. I think my main criticism remains to be the one that I said in my last update, which is I feel like there was nothing more to this book besides banter, and when that's kind of the entire book, I just don't feel like it has much of a leg to stand on. I will say though, I didn't know this. I don't know how I didn't. Lauren Roberts really got me with the plot twist at the end of this book, which is exactly what she did in the first book. And so now I'm like, do I continue the series? Like, do I? I'm tempted because of the plot twist at the end. Like, you're telling me that I have to live my entire life not knowing what's going to happen after what just happened at the end of this book. Like, I think I'm going to have to continue because I want to know. I really do. So anyway, that was Reckless by Lauren Roberts. My official rating is a 3-star. Not a bad book, just not for me. And of course, I also read Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. Final rating for this book is a 3.5. That feels really good to me. And I've been editing this video and I realized that I promised you guys my Ashley Poston ranking of all of her books. And so I did want to give that to you in this video. I personally love hearing other people's rankings of like their favorite authors. And so at the bottom, we have A Novel Love Story. This was still a lovely book. It's just my least favorite of hers. Then I think we're gonna go with Sounds Like Love. This was good, just not as good as the other two. Then like significantly above these two, we have The Dead Romantics. I love, 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 love this book, and 6-star read, one of my top books ever, The 7-Year Slip at the top. So this is my official Ashley Poston ranking. Nobody asked, but I'm giving it to you. Lastly, before I let you guys go, I just wanted to remind you all that I launched my snail mail business this month. And so if you guys are interested in receiving a letter in the mail from me, that includes a cozy winter bookmark, a fun little word activity. This month it's a crossword, a personal letter from me, and also a newsletter on exciting new releases coming out. Then you guys can use the link in my description box to sign up for the Cozy Reader Club, where I get to send you letters every single month, and it's so fun. If you made it all the way to this point in the video, comment down below the envelope emoji so I know who the real ones are. I hope you guys are having the best day and the best reading month, and I will see you in 2 days for the next day of Bookmas. Bye!